Hello, welcome. I'm Rilus Dana. It's another Friday, webinar Friday. Today's topic is modern estate planning. So we'll be discussing digital assets, what they are and how to plan for them, Dynasty Trust, and then also trustees. So hope everyone's had a good week. I've had a good week. It's been a busy one, as always. So I block out this time on Fridays to go live, but I'm not always sure what I'm going to talk about until I hit that live button and go live. Or actually, I schedule I set up the stream, got to make the thumbnail. So, and thinking about the topic, what to talk about this week, just thinking about what's happened during my week. So I've met with a couple attorneys this week. I've had lunches with friends who are attorneys, just talking about their practices and what they're doing, and so kind of emphasize some of the modern estate planning things that we're doing. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Actually, let's do this way, make it bigger. Okay, so digital assets. What are digital assets? Well, the definition is it's a electronic record in which an individual has a right or interest. So basically, information that's stored electronically. These digital asset laws are important because they direct how you control your information that's stored electronically, like pictures you keep on your phone, videos you keep on your phone or in the cloud. So that should be part of your estate plan now. What do you want to have happen to those pictures on your iPhone? Do you want them to be deleted when you're gone, or do you want them to be passed on? So a digital asset trust is a place to leave specific instructions on those types of things. So that should be part of your estate plan. The other thing the digital asset trust does is it allows limited access to email. So that's important. When I learned this business, more stuff was coming on paper. And if someone suddenly passed away or suddenly became ill, a good way to figure out what they owned and what bills they have was to start getting their mail. So now how much stuff is going to the paper mailbox versus the email box? So make sure your estate plan includes something for your digital information. All right, now let's talk about Dynasty Trust. But before we get into what a Dynasty Trust is, let's talk about the other alternative or the common way that most trusts are set up. So most trusts, the main goal of a revocable trust is to avoid probate and to transfer assets. So this scenario here, mom and dad are gone. Here's a successor trustee, and the terms of the trust is that it should distribute 1/3 at age 20, half at 25, and the balance at age 30. So this scenario here, the trustee is actually the oldest sibling. Look similar there. And he's 33, so that's over 30. So that means that he'll get all of his share outright. So these age trusts, they're designed to end. Once the beneficiary hits a certain age, they get all their inheritance. And then for these beneficiaries that are underage, so this 21-year-old will get 1/3 directly, and then the rest to his trust. And the 18-year-old under 20, so all of her inheritance will be held in trust for her until she reaches those ages. So that's a good way to avoid probate and to transfer things and to make sure nothing's going to go to a minor. But a dynasty trust is a way to add a little bit more protection. Now, here's how the dynasty trust works. So each child would receive their own dynasty trust. So their share of the estate, their share of the trust will be placed into their dynasty trust. And then the trustee is going to manage it for them. So the monies or the assets inside the dynasty trust, it's at the trustee discretion to make distributions. This is the trustee over here. And then at the age of 35, they can become the trustee. So these dynasty trusts don't end, rather the children eventually become the trustee. so they can manage their own share, so they can manage their own trust. Now, here's the question. So would you rather receive your inheritance outright, individually in your name, or inside of a trust? Now, the answer depends on what type of trust it is, who's the beneficiary, who's going to receive from the trust, and what are the terms of the trust. So this is how I like to set up the Dynasty Trust. We'll name a trustee at least for a certain age, till the kids are a certain age. And then a lot of times the age that I do is age 35. We'll let the children become their own trustee at the age of 35. And then the distributions from the Dynasty Trust is at the trustee discretion. So the child themselves just has to convince himself that they need a distribution from the trust. Power of appointment. This is something I include in my Dynasty Trust, but this allows the beneficiary of the trust to choose where it goes after them. So usually the default is that it will pass to their children. Sometimes I call this the power of disappointment because it can allow a parent to disinherit their children if they're bad boys, they're bad kids. They can be disinherited. Dynasty Trust is outside of the child's estate. I'm going to go into that a little bit more, what it means to be outside of the estate. But it basically means that it's not subject to the estate tax and it's out of reach from creditors. If this child had any creditors, they can't reach in here. Versus assets in their name individually, they could be reached by a creditor. So you want your inheritance inside of a dynasty trust. That's the best way to go, especially a flexible dynasty trust like this. All right, let's look at this inside the estate versus outside the estate. So if you receive your inheritance inside of a dynasty trust, you can control how you want to invest things, what the trust invests in. But instead of pulling money out of the trust, you can keep things inside of the trust. So if you want to buy a house, whether that's a house you use yourself or a rental house, you can have your dynasty trust purchase those things. Now with rental real estate, it's a good idea to have that inside of an LLC to limit the liability if someone gets hurt on this property. But you can do all of that through your dynasty trust. So this dynasty trust is a nice layer of protection that keeps all of these assets out of your estate. So they're not going to be subject to the estate tax and they can't be reached by creditors. As opposed to if you accumulate assets in your name individually, all of these things are part of your estate and they could be subject to the estate tax when you pass away. And if you had any type of liability, like a car accident or someone sued you for any reason, they could collect these assets. So the opportunity here, you want a dynasty trust. So you can get your parents to set up a dynasty trust if they haven't done their estate plan or if their estate plan needs to be updated. Come see me, I'll get them set up or get you set up rather to inherit inside of a dynasty trust. The dynasty trust, it's also known as a generation skipping trust. That's the tax term. And this is common but advanced estate planning, I'll say. This is actually estate tax planning. Now, the estate tax doesn't affect you unless, currently you have to have over almost $12 million before you're subject to the estate tax. But it is the estate tax principles that work off these dynasty trusts. So I start to recommend the dynasty trust whenever a single beneficiary is going to inherit more than $500,000. Then you want to consider keeping it protected. Now, let's say that your parents have passed away, they have a trust, but it does not include a dynasty trust for you. Is it possible to add a dynasty trust after the fact? Well, maybe. Maybe is my official answer online on the internet. That's my official answer. I'll go a little farther and say probably yes. In Arizona and California, there's something called decanting. which is a way to non-judicially amend an irrevocable trust. So non-judicially means without court. So it is possible to change trust if your parents did not include a dynasty trust for you. It would be better to have them set it up while they're alive. Obviously, that's easier. But when you create your own estate plan, this is how you should create it for your children so that they inherit inside of a dynasty trust. All right, let's talk trustees. So last topic, and part of this dynasty trust, or a big part of it, is who you choose as the trustee. So I use this green bookkeeper hat to represent the trustee or any fiduciary. So the person in charge of a trust is called the trustee. So they have this fiduciary duty, which means a legal obligation of one party to act in the best interest of another. So whether you have an age trust for your children, someone's going to manage it until they reach a certain age, or a dynasty trust where the trustee is going to be involved for a certain age, or maybe always, it's really important who you choose as that trustee. So you can name an individual person. You could also name a company. There's different companies, like my law firm will serve as trustee as well. People can name us as trustee. So this is also a topic this week because I am serving as trustee for a couple people where I've had to do things this week in order to administer their trust and to manage those situations. So this is where I practice, Dana and Associates in Arizona and California. So if you need help setting up your plan or helping your parents set up their plan, reach out to us. You can give us a call or go to our website and you can reach out to us that way to schedule your free, we call it a personal family legal session. So that's a meeting where we'll get together. You can come in person, one of our offices, or we can start on Zoom and we'll talk about your specific situation and start designing a plan that's right for you and your family. All right, other things I want to show you as part of modern estate planning. So here's our website, danalegalhelp.com. You'll see this digital vault. So it's important to plan for the pictures on your phone, things like that. And then in addition to sending all of the, the paper documents in a binder, we also provide a digital vault. So a way that you can store important information electronically and decide who can access that information and when they can access it. For the attorneys out there, or if you have attorney friends, check out Mott Legal. And there's actually Mott Legal Academy. I have a digital asset course. So for attorneys, if you're not offering digital asset planning, you can go to this course and I include everything that you need to add a digital asset trust and the 3-step digital asset process that we do at Dana and Associates. So that's it for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Let us know in the comments below what topics you'd like to hear about, and we'll see you next time.